Yeah. Must have had a knot. Doggone it. I did 2 reps there. All right, so if you're tuned in, watching and listening to my deadlifts here, on the Dimmel deadlifts that I'm doing right now, those heavy front-loaded band tensions that I've got added here make these much more effective, at least for what I'm doing them for. I'm doing these to get in better positions, to get the back locked in, to make me have to force the back to get locked in. Muscular force, to force it to get into position. I need more strength all throughout my lats to get it into that position. And I need my hamstrings to really be fried. And with those bands pulling me forward, I have to really dig my feet into the ground, squeeze with the toes, and I'm driving backwards. It's a hamstring glute killer as well as a great technique builder. And if you do these for a bunch of reps, let's say you just did the bar with a bunch of reps for like 60 seconds, it'll build your sled drag like crazy. Lean back on those. Woo! The wider grip is easier. Oh, me. Well, okay, then if you're still following along at home and you want to listen, wrapping up the deadlift session for today, I think you have to keep in mind again that, I have a goal that I want to hit in the next 6 to 7 weeks on deadlifts. It's an extremely modest goal, but doing it and staying injury-free is still not easy. So I did change some things today. If you know what my plan is, my long-term plan is 4 years from now, 4.5 years from now. But in 4 years, I need to be ready that I can make a little bit of a push. In order for me to do that, if I'm 45, 46, and to be able to basically be disabled at this point and to continue to make any kind of progress at this point, it is not an easy thing to do. So the biggest thing that I need to focus on is staying healthy and getting as healthier as I can, and trying to slowly get better. So much of that is, hey, we're not going to push deadlifts from the floor. I'm building from the rack. This week is, I think it's 13, it's a 13-inch pull. Next week is 11. The week after that is 9, which is a normal height for a deadlift. And the week after that is about 1.5 to 2 inch deficit. So I normally start with 5s here. Next week will be either 5s or 3s, and then we make the call from there and adjust things. So usually it'll go back to 2 sets of 3 or 3 sets of 3, and then 2 sets of 2 at the deficit. But rotating a lot of exercises that are builders and position work, because I cannot push one single exercise really hard and really heavy. The risk to reward ratio is just way too high. So I've got a lot of things I need to work on, like a bodybuilder trying to build a lot of different muscles. So that is what I'm doing with my training. I'm working on a lot of different things, positions, muscles, bands in different spots. And that's what today is about. So today was back at my highest bar position, 13 inches. The last time I did this would have been 4 weeks ago. And I used bands with front-loaded micro minis, 2 sets of micro minis, the little bitty blue ones that you see me near the gym with. So I increased the front-loaded band tension to the doubled light bands, got them over here. And then I went to chains, and I'm not a good puller with chains. My last cycle with chains, I used 55 and 35-pound chains. This week was just the 55-pound chains. So I switched up several things. The front-loaded band tension made it a much more difficult pull as far as hamstrings and keeping my back into position and not being pulled forward. I have to lean back, I have to lock the lats in, and I have to lean back when I'm deadlift. This might not do anything to build my actual deadlift, but it does keep me much safer. Overloading my hamstrings, my mid and upper back, without loading on to that lower back. That's key, guys. If you're an older lifter, if you're a vintage lifter and you're trying to deadlift, remember, the point is to build a deadlift, not just to deadlift every week. The point is to build the deadlift, especially if you want to be a competitor or you want to lift for a long time. So I'm building a deadlift. I'm not deadlifting, I'm building a deadlift. There's a difference between building a car and driving a car. If you want to drive a car, go get a car and drive it. It's going to break down eventually. So you're either going to have to find a mechanic who can build on it, or you're going to have to learn how to build on it yourself, how to maintain it, take care of it. That's what I'm trying to do. So I didn't feel amazing. I've been cramping all week, but that's okay. I got my sets, I got my reps in, went over to the deadlift from the floor because the online contest that I'm going to be doing has a 5-rep max, suit, straps, touch and go, and I want to just kind of get a feel. And I've got honestly, the number that I want to hit is not that far out of what I did today. So I've got 265 on the bar today, pounds, freedom units, and it felt really, really good. I've got a hamstring that's sore. It hurts, mostly because it cramps somewhat nonstop, especially while I'm asleep, when it's not getting that great blood flow and circulation. It just has a slow, steady cramp along that sciatic nerve and the peroneal nerve down the side of my leg. So foot cramp, calf cramp, ham cramp, all on that right side. Makes me a little nervous. So that 2 sets of 5 there, that felt really good. Back over to the demos, finding the positions, getting the extra hamstring and lat work in, all the back work in, and then finishing off with the high pulls. I am going to push the demos and the high pulls a little bit, increasing the weight a little bit, doing a few less reps, but I'm not going to push the intensity as hard as I was before. The intensity is going to be pulled back, the reps are going to be less, the weight's going to be more. You always have to manage how much you can recover from, and that's based on intensity, not sets and reps. So move that percent. You know what you can recover from, so always train in that little area of what you can recover from. Just because it says 2 sets of 2 instead of 3 sets of 3 Doesn't mean you have to go heavier. It means you can use the same weight or even less and do it better and recover more and make it a more effective training session. So that's where I'm at today. Going to keep building on that every week. So now let's get outside and go do some events. That's the plan anyway. That is the plan. Let's go do some events, guys.